Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining me at another episode of She Constructs. I'm here again with Dr. Victoria Abboud. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for inviting me. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you almost again.
We're going to talk today about working from home. We are in Ontario and in the second state of emergency with a stay-at-home mandate put on us. And even though we've done this once before, and it should feel a little more comfortable, but for some people, it really doesn't feel comfortable at all, especially when some of us have kids and things at home. We have spouses at home, or we have roommates at home. We have pets who have become very accustomed to us being at home. I know that our dogs are like, oh, I think it's lunchtime. Don't I get a walk now at lunchtime? So I kind of worry about what it's going to look like when everybody's back full time and those guys are just like, where is everybody? So what's your take, Victoria? What do you think is going on out there? Do you think that people are calm? Do you think that some people are still stressed?
I think it's probably a whole smattering of different things, right? I think folks are handling the situation, I guess, in the best way they can. Of course, some of us are able to work from home, and that's a great privilege and a great fortune that we have. Some folks are struggling with job security. Some folks are frontline, so they've been working this entire time and are with the added stress of the pandemic, et cetera. So I think for the most part, I could say folks that I've encountered are largely doing the best they can. I think there's been a bit of a release of the expectations to some extent. Again, I'm speaking of specific folks that I know, not necessarily everybody in general. So I think for the most part, we're kind of trying to find strategies that will help us handle the household or handle a home life in some reasonable way, so that hopefully, we're maintaining order, and this could be men or women, of course, but we're kind of cohesive as a household unit in whatever way that household is made up. At the end of the day, I think no one can expect perfection at this point. We can't expect perfection on a good day, let alone 10 or so months into a pandemic. So I think that's where we are. Yeah.
Yeah. I know that a lot of people have become very comfortable with a child walking in or a cat going across, and it's just like everybody's home. Everybody understands what's going on. So I know for us, sometimes the battle is noise, trying to achieve that perfect quietness for Zoom calls, for meetings, for recordings like this. And we post a schedule so that everybody kind of is aware of what's going on and the expectation of respect. And sometimes I find that people kind of forget, and then we get frustrated in that moment. What can you tell us we can do with that bundled up time where we're just like, be quiet?
Yeah. I can't tell you how to handle kids or your own households necessarily for everyone, but in terms of self-management, a couple of things I could suggest have a lot to do with breath, have a lot to do with how we actually are inhaling and exhaling. A lot of times when we get that frustrated feeling, or we get that surge of stress, we start to breathe really high. So we sort of, our whole body kind of seize up, and then the breath sort of starts just above the top part of your chest here. And so what starts to happen there is your body is actually triggering into a response of either fight, flight, or freeze. And we've talked about that in previous chats. And so what we're trying to do with the breathing is to actually kind of override that reaction and kind of bring the body back and say, physiologically, you are safe, even if you don't feel emotionally safe in a pandemic or in the circumstance. We're in a situation where we can actually push the breath down, get it deeper, and then that theoretically triggers that calmer, more relaxed, maybe not fully relaxed, but more relaxed response, so that you can actually bring your awareness, your focus, and your best, mom or partner or pet owner self to the person or person or pet, I guess, that you're trying to deal with.
we just want to be the best leaders we can,
Right.
regardless of our situation, right? So
Exactly. Exactly.
I think that women just always want to be best. We're so hard on ourselves. And so
Mhm.
when we're in the middle of something and we're getting interrupted by our environment that we can't control, it's just so frustrating for us where we're
Yeah.
just like, our quest for perfection is what I kind of call it, gets,
Mhm.
tampered with. And then we are so stressed out. So
Yeah, for sure.
remind us or give us some techniques to kind
Sure.
of take that deep breath, take that moment of embrace a moment of calm before
Yeah.
we enrage.
Sure, sure. And of course, this may work for some folks, maybe not work for others. So feel free to encourage everyone to kind of adapt it as you need to, right? It's
Yeah.
for you specifically. So one really simple one, or it seems simple, is typically you use your right hand and you try to actually put sorry, it's kind of awkward. Try to put your ring finger and your little finger down. Okay, so or sorry, other way, what you're trying to do is put your ring finger and little finger up, and the first two fingers are down. So it's an
Okay.
awkward, it's almost like Star Trek in some weird
Yeah.
way, an adapted Star Trek, I guess. So what we're going to do with this hand is we're going to be pressing our fingers onto our nostrils, and that's going to allow us to do what's called alternate nostril breathing. And if we start to do this, it actually helps to calm us and helps us get a bit of a deeper breath. So again, with your right hand, your ring finger and little finger are up as up as they can be. It's tricky to do. Your thumb is out and these two fingers are kind of pressed into your hand. And so what you'll do is you'll take your thumb and you'll press it onto your right nostril, and you'll start talking funny, but you'll press it on your right nostril. And then you're going to take a breath through the inhale breath through the left nostril. So slowly and as deeply as you can. Okay. And then when you're at the top, you think you have all the air you can take, you're going to pause for maybe 2-3 seconds or more. And then you're going to shift these other two fingers to the left nostril, and you're going to exhale out the right nostril. So we'll try that again because I think I gave convoluted instructions. So take the thumb, press it against the right, inhale on the left. So
Okay.
inhale on the left, and then these two fingers go to the left because we're closing that one now. And then we're going to exhale out the right. So basically, once you get your hand sorted, you're just going back and forth against the alternate nostrils, right? So the key is to inhale through the left nostril and then seal it and then exhale through the right nostril, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's tricky because I think sometimes our sinuses are kind of cluttered
Clogged.
anyway, so it's a bit awkward. But you can always blow your nose ahead of time, or you can experiment to see what will
I
work.
think the hand thing is also a nice distraction from the moment. I'd be like, I gotta breathe. And then it's like,
Let me figure this out for 10 minutes. Get more
then
stressed
forget
out.
why I'm mad because my frustrations are right here.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So that's one of them. And I can show you another quick one.
Yeah.
So this one is less convoluted with your fingers. All you're trying to do, and I'm assuming folks are sitting in a chair most of the time, right? So you can do this in your chair. You just want to sit back, make sure your spine is straight. And when I say spine is straight as much as you can, right? As much as you're physically able to do. Ideally, you want to try to have your shoulders right above your hips, right? And then your feet are flat on the floor so that your knees are at a 90-degree angle. So basically what you're doing is we're just going to control how we're breathing. So we inhale through the nose as deeply as we can, trying to get all the way down to the belly, right? Fill up that whole space. And then at the top, when we've inhaled, we're going to pause for maybe 2 or 3 seconds. Some folks can do it a lot longer, or you can stretch yourself to do it longer over time. So you're holding that breath, and then you exhale again through the nose for the same amount of time. And then you'll pause at the bottom when you've fully exhaled. So it's almost like imagining a rectangle. Okay, so we're going to inhale, say for a count of 4. So inhale. We're going to hold for 4. And then we're going to exhale for 4. And at the end of that exhale, you hold again for 4. So of course, the number, how long you do that will definitely vary by what you're able to do. But it's a practice that you can start to engage because it forces you to focus on that full inhale, get all the air in your body, pause, allow the full exhale, and pause again. And so if you consistently do this, you might start to find that actually you can do it for longer periods. So some folks will do an inhale for the count of 8 or even 16, right?
What?
And that, yeah, it's insane. They'll do it for a long time, and then the pause, maybe not 8 or 16 seconds, but they'll have a longer pause, and then the exhale is that long as well, 8 or 16, and then they pause a bit of a shorter time at the base of it. It's a common practice in yoga to get used to that kind of breathing. And if you can work through it and keep practicing, you find it really helps settle. If you do that, say 3 or 4 times, it really starts to calm the whole system, calm the nervous system. Parasympathetic starts to kick in and says, oh, okay, we're resting now, right? We're taking it easy. And then hopefully you've been able to do that in about a minute or under a minute, and then you can address whatever situation is happening, outside the room or right next to you, depending where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a great tip. I know that I have heard myself breathe like that when I've been trying to do like the at-home yoga videos. You have that like that Darth Vader kind of through the back of the throat type sound. So that's when you know you're doing it right.
Yeah. It's called the Ujjayi breath,
Okay.
and they equate it to, if you imagine in your throat that you're trying to fog up a mirror, but you close your mouth and make that sound.
Oh,
it's opening up right in here, and it allows that movement and the progression. So yeah, it's a good, or Darth Vader breath also. So that's another option. Yeah. That's cooler, I would say, in some cases.
Oh man, that's funny. I don't know, Vicki. I think that other than kind of letting go of that need to be perfect and having that perfect at-home work setting is just something that we need to let go of.
Yeah.
We need to kind of become comfortable with that this is how it is, and this not necessarily a state of emergency, but this may be how it is until the population is vaccinated. And I think that's going to be a little bit more than just this year, but I hope I'm wrong. My fingers are crossed. I really hope I'm wrong, because we need to get this stuff rolled out, and we need to get jabbed in the arm and do what we need to do, because a lot of people are feeling really isolated when they're at home. Do you have any tips for people who are feeling isolated? And we may be feeling isolated even though we're not necessarily alone at home, right? There's a difference between being alone and lonely.
Yeah, for sure.
And do you want to talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. I think one of the challenges, I know for me, I can speak from my own experience. One of the challenges for me is the inability to actually engage with people in the same physical space, right? I mean, I have my family, my partner, but in terms of social activities or just being out and about in the world, I really miss that human interaction. And so what I've been finding is I'm doing a lot more virtual calls with folks, which isn't quite satisfying that physical proximity, but it's certainly giving me the opportunity to realize that, hey, I can still be in touch with these people, and we can still have really good conversations. It looks a little different, right? So that might be an option for some. For some, if that's not a possibility or just not desirable, I've been forcing myself to get out of the house for, even if it's 10 minutes during the day, just so that I'm moving, I'm getting fresh air. I'm ensuring that I'm, not stiff in the chair for 12 hours a day, because I have a tendency to do that sometimes, which is not healthy. And what I'm starting to see is that depending on the time of day that I go out, I'm starting to see the same folks, right? I don't know them. I guess, live in the neighborhood, near the neighborhood. And we're starting to be able to just like do a wave or hi, nice to see you. How are you? I may not know their names, but I'm still at least interacting with other people. Of course, we're staying distant. We're on opposite sides of the street, for example, but it's allowing us at least to engage in some way. And for some, that might be a way to, be with people without being with people, essentially.
Yeah, I know when we walk the dog, and if I see someone I know, it's like a big deal, right? You're like,
Mhm.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Right? And they stand on the other side of the path, or
Mhm.
you have all that
Mhm.
distance in the outdoor space, but it's just so exciting
Yeah.
to have a conversation like
Yeah.
face to face again with
Yeah.
someone, right? So
And you can even orchestrate that. Like I've previously, before this stay-at-home order, it was seemed a little more flexible. So I would meet up with a friend. We had masks. We stayed as distant as we could where we were
Mhm.
walking, of course, with other people as well, wherever they were. But we would just go for a walk for 10 or 15 minutes to say hello, hear each other's voices, see them and say, are you okay? Yeah, you look okay. Okay, good. Right. Just sort of
Yeah.
that check in. But again, it gave us not the exact physical proximity, but we were around each other in some way distantly.
Mhm.
We had masks on, so we were being as cautious as we could. We were outside getting fresh air. We were moving, which of course which then helps us breathe differently. So I think all of that together, finding the different unusual ways, or they seem unusual ways to be social, I think have been really helpful.
I think more and more people also have been heading outside, and it's been really great for all reasons for people to go back outside, right? We spent a lot of time in our homes. We come home from our work day, we stay in our house.
Mhm.
Um, and just the huge difference. I know for us, we have dogs, so we have to walk our dogs, but even if we didn't have our dogs, I think we would still be going out for our walks, at
Mhm.
lunch and right after work. It doesn't have to be long, but it just gets us outside, gets a change of scenery, and hopefully we
Mhm.
see a neighbor or somebody and we can
Yeah,
wave and have that
yeah,
moment, right?
yeah.
So
And even if you don't encounter people, what I'm starting to see is a lot more animal activity.
mhm.
Because there are so few people and cars around, I'm noticing squirrels more in the trees. I'm noticing, I'm saying, oh, I'm hearing birds, and they sound different than the other birds from the other day. So I may not know all the details of what they are or what they're doing, but I'm starting to notice a little bit more about my surroundings, and that's a good thing. That's exhibiting some mindfulness, right? It's keeping
Yeah.
in the moment, in that actual activity, breathing through it, and all of that together helps us kind of settle and calm our systems a bit.
Yeah. Calmness, everybody.
Yeah,
Calmness.
hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Victoria. I always appreciate and enjoy it when you're on. I thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation.
And if anyone is feeling sad or lonely, there's lots of avenues for you. If you need to reach out to She Constructs, we're going to redirect you around, of course, because we are peer support. We're not professionals, but we definitely want to make sure that if you're feeling the need to engage or you need some help, reach out to somebody
Mm-hmm.
and we'll help you out. We have networking events that we do, and a newsletter and fun blogs, and of course our podcast. So you can connect with us if you're feeling like you need more connection.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.